Matrescence. The word most people don't know. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. I am recording from my bed today, which is really nice and cozy, but I'm so sorry. I've got an awful window. So if you can hear the outside world, I apologise. And my cat's also snoring next to me. So just wanted to preface that before we get going. So, matrescence, motherhood, and awakening. I want to ask, why does nobody prepare women for what actually happens when you become a mother? Matrescence is the word for what I went through, but I didn't know that that word existed up until maybe 2 to 3 months ago. My little girl is nearly 2.5. And I think it's something that most women go through when they become a mother, but the word isn't spoken about enough. The condition, the phrase, the title isn't spoken about enough. I'm just going to pop in here after I've recorded this to say that I'm even having to go back now and correct this transcript, which I've never had to do before, post recording, because it didn't even recognize the word matrescence. It kept using the word mattress every time I said matrescence. If that doesn't tell us how much this word and this phase of womanhood is not recognized in our society, then I don't know what will. Before we get into this, I guess I should just give the word some definition for you and some context. Just like the way adolescence is the transition from one stage into another, from being a child into adulthood, matrescence is another phase. So it's the psychological, emotional, and hormonal shift a woman undergoes into motherhood. It's the identity shift. And it is so destabilizing. So much so that I just want to say this gently before we carry on. If you've felt anything similar to what I'm going to speak about, or are even currently going through it, it doesn't mean that you're failing in any capacity. It just means that you're transforming. After my little girl was born, everything accelerated for me internally, not just practically, but spiritually, psychologically, everything shifted. But no one warns you about this part. They tell you that motherhood brings peace and love and joy, which it absolutely does. But they don't tell you what happens when your mind has to shift into survival. Suddenly, conversations feel heavier and your environment feels harder to ignore. Love doesn't feel the same. You don't feel the same. Everything feels different. You're still trying, you're still talking, you're still going through the motions of daily life, now looking after this child and trying to figure out what that looks like. Combining the old you with the new you, the old life with the new life. Trying to make it through the day. And relationships feel different because your awareness has arrived. Your tolerance shifts. It gets harder to ignore things. What you used to accept doesn't sit right anymore, or you see the world through a different lens now that you're trying to protect something within it, like you've never protected anything before. You feel lost, but you feel love like never before. Your brain completely changes. Parts of your brain literally change size to accommodate for different areas taken over. That's what baby brain is. Your instinct heightens, your reactions heighten, Your responses change. You are no longer seeing life through a lens of a singular person. You're seeing life through the perspective of your child plus you, because she's still in there. It's a whole combination of a million different contradictions all happening at once. And if you're anything like me, and I imagine a lot of you are, you want to be the best mum and the best parent you can possibly be, which then comes with its own set of pressures and standards and ideals that you're trying to implement on top of everything else that you're trying to do and hold together. And there's also no room in your mind to process all of this because everything else has taken over your mind. The survival, the fight or flight, the lioness within, the cave woman protecting her baby. And then we live in a world on top of all of that where you have to hand over your child for childcare, whether it's to family, friends, nurseries, childminders, babysitters, whatever it is. You're also awoken to the world that we live in that you once tolerated, but now your critical thinking has stepped in because of this new identity shift. And you see the world completely differently, and nothing was as it was. It feels like a huge timeline jump, a huge quantum leap into a new version of everything that you have to process, learn, deal with, navigate, find your place in, all while trying to do your best. Realizing that the old you no longer exists and no one prepared you for that. And it's instantaneous as well. It's literally as they are born. As soon as you see them, it changes. You don't have time to catch up. Even small things like what you look like or the physical appearance, your style, how you express yourself, time for yourself. Basic things like self-care and cleanliness and hygiene and your environment, cleaning your house, all these tiny things add up throughout the day. Then on top of that, you have developmental milestones. Am I doing everything I can for my child? Am I developing them enough? Do I have the right toys? Do I have the right environment? What do I need to buy? Your shopping list changes. Where you shop changes. How you shop changes. You start reading into things or learning more things, but you don't have time to do any of this. But it all just kind of happens at once in this huge ball of chaos. But it's infiltrated with the greatest love you've ever known and the greatest joy you've ever experienced. So that keeps you going. But you are allowed to feel the weight of this and to feel confused by this and to feel overwhelmed by this and to have negative thoughts because you need to process it. That version of you before is not fully accessible anymore. And there's grief that can come with that. Actual, real grief. It is a loss of the you that you've known your whole life. You have to grieve an entire life that you knew would change a little bit because we know children change things. But until you've experienced it yourself, no one can understand. And then you have guilt about grieving it because you feel guilty. for missing it and grieving it. Because somewhere in our mind, that implies that you prefer it, or you would rather have it back, or you regret it. And that's not the case. You are allowed to grieve the life and the version of you before children, while simultaneously wanting to be where you are. The two things can exist, two truths can exist at the same time. And then there's the identity confusion. Who am I now then? Which takes years to figure out. It's a complete strip back. So I just want to say you are fully, fully allowed and heard and seen and validated if you feel negatively about that time period, or if you are still in it. And this time period for me, I hope nobody else feels as intensely as I did. My situation may be different to others, which I won't delve into, but this is where journaling really helped me. I unfortunately found myself with more time to do that, which I turned into a positive and tried to process these feelings and these emotions. And that's where my journey of self really started, and where I had to face hard truths, and shadow work essentially started happening before I even knew what the term was. It's where I was able to be really honest with myself, just me and my journal. And maybe that could help somebody else to feel as though they have something to turn to quieten the noise in the mind around this time. Maybe when the baby's napping, a couple of pages a night, or even if it's just a few pages a week of getting everything out into somewhere that you feel no judgment. So yeah, journaling really helps here. And I think matrescence is why so many women wake up after having children. You're suddenly responsible for shaping a human's nervous system. So you start questioning your own conditioning and your own nervous system, and you see your children through new eyes. You realize what you want to pass on, what you don't want to pass on. And I think, as negative as this probably all sounds, there are tons of positives, if not more positives, to this time period. And I know it may not feel like it right now if you're in the thick of it, but I hope some of the mums can attest to this, that when you start to come through to the other side, you are thankful for it, because this stripping back of everything you knew and everything that you thought you were really allows you to see who you truly are underneath all the conditioning, underneath all of the layers, underneath everything that you were taught about the world, underneath other people's perceptions that were placed onto you that you felt you needed to take on, and you thought that that was your identity. You realize that in actuality, it isn't. It's just the way that you formed. It's just the way that you survived. It's just the way that you conformed into society and taught yourself your whole life that this is who I am, this is my personality, this is what I do, this is how I react, this is what my opinions are of the world, this is how I see it, how I make friends, how I like to spend my time. And then when everything is taken away from you, literally everything, your time is taken away from you, Your self-expression is taken away from you, your identity is taken away from you. It almost feels sacred, and it almost feels contractual with the soul that all women that want to have children will have to go through this at some point. It almost feels like a part of the package, and you can only realize the beauty of that once you're through it. Because you realize that to be the best mum in the world that I can be, I have to know who I am without the world telling me who I am, and without my conditioning, and without this identity that has been created for me through media and society and our parents and school and peers and socializing that have slowly but surely put you into a box. And you realize who you truly are, and you start to piece it back together, and you start to shed all of the things that aren't truly you, and you start to stitch yourself back together with all of the pieces that you choose for yourself this time. You start to realize what truly brings you joy. You start to realize what truly makes you happy. You start to realize what really, really matters. You become deeper, you become more awakened. It connects to previous episodes, I suppose. Unconditional love, the identity shift, things that trigger us, your perception. I suppose it all kind of ties into one, which I love about this podcast. And I really wanted to do this for a long time, is to talk about this, because I've been through it. And I guess I just wanted to share what matrescence is for women who are probably thinking, what the hell is going on? Does every mum feel like this? Are these extreme emotions normal? Am I going through postnatal depression? Are these feelings my fault? You start to second guess everything, and I don't want anybody to feel alone in that. But despite those feelings, I truly believe that matrescence is a completely necessary stage that we have to go through to be the best mums that we can be. It forces us to have a new emotional baseline for what really matters. It's seeing the forest through the trees. It brings you clarity, ironically. It's like tunnel vision. And another thing that I think is really necessary is the fact that children trigger us more than anybody else. So while we're going through all of this, while we're battling with that and navigating this new life and dealing with the day-to-day and the inner dialogues and the mental load, we're also bringing up children, which is one of the hardest jobs in the world. But that is destiny, because they mirror our unhealed parts. So if matrescence sheds light on those unhealed parts for us to face and to heal, then it will actually benefit us when our children are triggering us, because it goes hand in hand, right? The more we have, the harder it'll be, the irritation, the overwhelm, and the guilt. But the more that we step into this and don't see it as something to be scared of, see it as something to embrace, see the positives in it, see how it can change us for the better, take on those triggers, catch them in real time, heal them, do better, implement it into daily life, we're not only healing ourselves, but we're healing our children at the same time. They bring it out of us because they're forcing us to face ourselves. Because facing yourself means that you are able to be a clean canvas to allow them to grow up without your baggage, and for them to paint their canvas the way you want them to be able to paint it. It's an invitation to continue the work, continue facing this and feeling your way through it. Feel your way through matrescence. And cry when you need to cry. And write down when you need to write down. And process when you need to process. And talk about things when you feel safe to talk about them with people you feel safe to talk to. Live it, breathe it, soak it up just as much as you are soaking up motherhood, because this is a time period for you also. You are literally birthing a new you as well as birthing your child. You are bringing new life into this world in more ways than one, and I don't think people speak about that enough, or the challenge that comes with that. And I believe that motherhood truly, truly is a spiritual initiation for a few different reasons. The first reason is that I think the hormones open you up to this divine femininity, this divine motherhood era. And with that, your intuition sharpens. I think the things that we mentioned before, the relationships, the friendships, the seeing the world through a different lens, things that once mattered to you now don't, is actually just your intuition sharpening, starting to have a voice. It's telling you if something is right or wrong now. And it's a voice that you never used to be able to hear, and it wasn't loud before. So all of a sudden, it's clarifying all these different things to you that your true identity underneath it all has wanted to say for so long, but was drowned out. So follow that inner voice, follow that intuition. That is mother's instinct. That's what I think that is. And the second reason I think motherhood is a spiritual expansion and initiation is because your heart cracks open in ways that you didn't expect. The level of empathy and the magnitude of sensitivity to energies and situations and people and awareness that you have now makes you question everything. And that's why many mothers feel called to do more, or to change their careers, or to have a different purpose. There's this new spark within you that motherhood ignited. And so give it space, listen to it, because now that you see the world for what it is, you may want to change it, you may want to contribute, because that is essentially you doing better for your children, isn't it? What world do I want my children to grow up in? A world where I'm at home all the time, so I adjust my career or my obligations to make that happen. A world where they don't ever have to worry about money, so maybe my focus now shifts into career and making that more successful. What are my non-negotiables now? What does that look like to me? And just follow that inner voice, follow that spark. Things will feel new, but they'll feel right. Start to listen to your heart and to your gut and to that voice in your head that Matrescence really gives a microphone to, I guess you could say. And I also want to say this. There is a loneliness that comes with Matrescence. And that's okay. It's inevitable because you feel a loss of everything you once knew. But don't listen to the bounce back culture or societal expectations. Try to turn all of that off, turn down the volume on everything else other than you, your inner voice, and your child. It's okay to evolve. It's okay to transform. It's okay to find it hard, and it's okay to miss parts of yourself. And through this, you will start to find yourself, regulate yourself, which helps you to raise more secure children. Your children borrow your nervous system, so the work that you're doing on yourself inevitably helps them, benefits them. Your daily baseline becomes theirs. So I just want you to welcome these feelings. It is all for the greater good. Matrescence doesn't mean you're disappearing. You are just transforming. There is no time limit on it. Everybody is different. So just give yourself some grace and take each day as it comes. It will get easier and it will get better. You will have a life beyond this era. You will have a life beyond this phase. It's temporary. It's necessary. And this too shall pass. It will all come back slowly but surely. Pieces of your soul will start to return. And just know that this awakening doesn't replace motherhood at all. It only deepens it. I wrote a little guide, a little book, because I realized parents need support. And so I wanted to try to write the book that I would have needed in that time, where everything was just all in one place. I wrote about raising secure children, doing the work, why we can't parent the way we used to parent, sleep, diet, toxic-free living, homeschooling, and repairing when you have struggles or bad days, everything I'd woken up to. And so hopefully that helps as well. I'll put the link in the little description if anyone wants to have a look at it. So I should probably close this off now because it's been a really long one. I guess I would just love to give you some journal prompts to help. Hopefully, if any of this resonated with you today, just turn to a page and ask yourself, who am I becoming? There are no wrong answers. Ask what parts of me are being invited forward. What do I want to take with me into this new version of myself? And what am I ready to let go of? What am I ready to break generationally, maybe? What did I think was part of my identity that I now realize maybe it wasn't? And what do I want to embody? What am I ready to embody? What do I want this new version of me to be? Motherhood isn't the end of who you are. It's just the beginning of who you are becoming. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next one.